you removed it now. What you're saying, you removed it? Oh, you just turned it on, I don't know what that means.
I think you just turned it on. I guess started updating. Self-maintenance.
Check in here. Check in here. Sound good?
Okay, we have, okay, go ahead, Mr. Duffy. Okay, we have a motion, yes, we have a motion on the floor on this check, we support on this auto to pay $17,000 to Mr. Stevens and $16,500 to Mr. West for the easements for the non-motorized paths. And we are now discussing that. Mr. Duffy, do you have some comments?
Yes, I have comments. We don't know how much this is gonna cost us before we're done. The engineer says, unless what happens, by the end of the month, that I will be voting against this. So,
Okay, thank you. Do you have any more comments, Mr. from this auto?
So I just want to clarify for the public why it's even discussed. So just so everybody understands, we've already paid in to this project at $64,439.97. So if we decide not to move forward, then that means that that money's gone. And we've already used up that money and we have nothing to show for it. The difference between buying the easements and without the easements is only $17,450. We think we could make up that money if we go a different route with the walkers, and that is probably going to be discussed later. But with that said, it just made more sense to just move forward than to let everything go. So that's all I want to do.
where is the money coming from?
It will probably be coming from the general fund.
Ms. Bellinger, do you have a comment?
Do I understand that the 65,000, or basically 65 approximate that you mentioned, this is, fees that you plan to pay to the planner, is that what I understand, or where is this?
It for Tetra Tech, it's already been paid.
Okay, so
That we
that
can't
65 we have paid for commercial services or engineering services and so forth, okay.
So, thank you. So, we have a motion, and, Alderman Zelma.
Yes, so one concern that was brought up is that we have to move the shed and the fence, and that has been requested since June 2015. And Ms. Rubel, or Brian had mentioned in the meeting that if we don't get that done by the end of March, it may cost us more money. Could you explain that a little bit more?
Excuse me, the contract says that the contractor will have access to the site April 1st. So I do not wish to delay him if at all possible. Will he be there? I don't know. We don't have the contract signed. We haven't gotten a schedule from him, but I, as your advisor, am trying to give you the best advice I can to minimize your cost, potential cost.
I mean, do we know if he shows up and it's not done, any estimate on any cost impact?
It'll be based on the time. If it longer it takes, the more he'll claim. So.
Okay, because I recall that the bid was good until mid-April before it would change in cost. So how does this impact that?
Well, again, the contract dates are that he can start as early as April 1st.
Okay.
and he needs to be done contractually by July 1st. So it's just my advice. Maybe he won't charge anything. Maybe he wants to do it later. I don't know. But as of right now, I'm giving you the best advice I can with the information that I have.
Right. And I have one other question, because MDOT is doing, seems to be a big hole that MDOT has put out there, or maybe utility company. I don't know if you've been by the site.
Not in the last 2 weeks, I haven't.
Okay. I think it's been out there, and I think Chief Wagner brought it up, I don't know, a couple meetings ago.
I saw an enclosure,
Yeah.
which I think is a telephone enclosure,
Okay.
some telephone systems. So
I
we're gonna have to have AT&T move that
Okay.
prior to the contractor starting.
And then you'll handle that as well? Is that how that works?
The contractor will handle
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Though the fence and everything is, well, the fence and the building are in the right-of-way that the homeowner built it or put it into the setback on the side of their property. So really, it shouldn't be there in the first place.
They shouldn't be there in the first place.
Shouldn't
That's
be there in
correct.
the first place, and they should move that, but a letter was sent, and there was no follow-up made to that letter. I think it was actually sent last August.
Okay.
So, we'll have to follow up on that.
Very good.
And I'm happy to go knock on the door, so, and I can be persistent.
Thank you.
So anyway, that's that.
I have
So we
another-
have a motion.
Yeah, I have another. So I know that you put a schedule together. So what is the total cost for Phase 3?
Okay, the total, I put a schedule together with what I knew, expecting the easements to be as they were, and the additional cost, for Tetra Tech to pay off the remaining amount owed. So the entire cost to the township remaining, if we go with a concrete, would be $205,856.37. If we go with asphalt instead, we'll save about $30,000, and that is actually my recommendation that we vote on that next. But, and then the total cost to the township going forward would be the $175,312. So, anyway, that's up for discussion
What's
next.
what's 175,000?
The remaining cost to the township to complete the path, if we can obtain the easements,
And that money's coming from,
the general fund.
what is the general fund right now?
It would take our fund balance down to about, with either of these, down to about 60%. Okay, so we do have a
We were at
motion.
57 the last time you told me.
About 59. But
59.
this is a little less
Oh.
than the last cost, so it'd be about 60%, Mr. Dockett. You are correct.
Yeah, okay, this is the last call here for this. I'd like us to vote on this, Ms. Bellinger.
On this form that you've offered us, is this numbers correct for Stoyanovich is 20,000 and Brian Westrate is 16,500?
That was the last communication that I had with them yesterday. That was what they were willing to accept. Now, that's not what we're making the motion for. We're making the motion for 17,000 for Mr. Stoyanovich and 16,500 for Mr. Westrate.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, can we vote on this now? Okay, I'm calling the question.
Roll call vote.
Roll call vote.
Good. Dockett,
No.
Chockley,
Yes?
Otto,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Bellinger,
No.
Zelenak,
No?
Manley, yes.
Okay, so we're going to make those offers. If they're not accepted, are we going without the easements, Plan B? Okay, Plan B without the easements.
What's Plan B?
Without the easements, we would build all of it except for those 4 homes. And if we go with asphalt, it would cost us $157,862. And then we'll have that gap. Ms. Bellinger?
Is this, now have we changed gears onto another subject? Is this part of what is on?
We're
For
still
the-
discussing this as part of
with this-
possible action as,
Okay, I just thought now we moved into the next
yeah.
section of the agenda is what I mean.
Yeah, we're not into the real meeting yet.
Okay,
It's
that's,
taken us a little while here.
Okay.
So anyway, these are considerations. that we have to go with, that we have to decide. And we do actually have some time to find out whether those easements are going to be accessible or not, and we can take this up at our next meeting, if that's the pleasure of the board. Or we could vote on it now and move to Plan B. I guess no matter what happens, I would like to make a motion. I will make a motion that we choose asphalt instead of concrete.
I was just going to make the comment because the last board had already agreed just to move forward without the easements, and I think we're still in that negotiation, so it's still out there that we would move forward without the easements. But I don't mind doing the asphalt versus the concrete thing.
Okay, so I make a motion that we move forward with asphalt instead of concrete.
Roll call vote, please.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, motion by Chalkley, second by Manley. Any more discussion on that? Ms. Bellinger?
If this path does end up going forward, although quite clearly I'm against this whole project, the way that it's, this debacle, the way that it's developed, I would suspect that concrete would probably have a much longer durability and life over asphalt. Therefore, if this does go forward, I would indeed vote against the saving of a few dollars now on asphalt. Thank you.
Ms. Chick?
Yep, I wanted to piggyback on Ton's comment. I also think concrete's a better option because it's more durable, and who is going to maintain the asphalt? Because as we know, with asphalt streets and asphalt sidewalks, they require a lot of costly maintenance.
Annual maintenance.
Okay. And Mr. Rubel, I did ask the question of you at one point, which is more durable, asphalt or concrete? And
That's a very subjective question. The best analogy I can give you is the Michigan Department of Transportation goes through that on all of their projects, and unless there is heavy truck loading, the analysis that they do every time comes out with asphalt being the surface that they use. When there's heavy trucks, then the analysis goes to concrete. So that's the best advice that I can give you.
okay. Thank you. Okay. Well, do we have any more discussion on the motion to switch to asphalt? Okay, let's call a roll on that.
Chockley.
Yes.
Chick. No. Zelenak.
No.
Otto.
No.
Manley, yes. Bellinger.
No.
Docket.
No.
Okay, it's concrete then. Okay. We don't need a motion for concrete, that's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. I just thought we'd save $30,000, so that's, okay. We are done with that. Second call to the public. Now's an opportunity to come up and speak to us, anything you'd like.
Do we have to meet and the closed session?
We've been out of closed session for a while. So we have the second call to the public. If anyone would like to come and speak, we have 3 minutes. Please state your name, your address, and feel free to share anything you'd like to. Hello. It is.
We did.
Hello.
Hello.
Adam Only, 9315 Lakewood Court. I wasn't able to attend the last meeting, but the meeting prior, I brought up a couple concerns about paying people for their easements. None of it was addressed in your opportunities to address it at the end of the meeting, and it wasn't addressed in the last meeting. So I'm up here doing it again. So just a couple questions. Why wasn't eminent domain used on these easements? Who gets money? I drive down Barker Road every day. There's 8 properties. You're talking about 4. You just did a sidewalk on Main Street. No one that I've talked to, so I've talked to 3 property owners, none of them got offered money. Why not? How was a number, you guys in the last meeting said $2,500 was fair market value for those easements, and now you're offering $17,000? That's about 680% over fair market value. If my home is worth $150,000 and I ask for 680% over fair market value, that puts my home over $1 million. Like Ton had mentioned, it's pretty much extortion. We're being taken advantage of, and I just don't know how you can offer someone that much money. And if you're offering, if a gentleman asks for $20,000 and you offer him 17, and then the guy who offers asks for 16.5 and you just give it to him, why didn't you short him on some? The decisions don't seem uniform that are being made, and the questions that the public are asking, myself and others, they're not getting answered. So I guess that's, if they're going to get answered, I would love to hear your replies, if it's in an email, or if it's in a phone conversation, or in person, or if you want to do it here in open session in the public and let everyone know your thoughts. I would appreciate that.
Okay. Thank you.
Dale Brewer, 11548 East Shore Drive, Whitmore Lake. Regarding your decision to go with asphalt, or not, actually your decision not to go with asphalt, that is definitely a very wise decision. As someone that has worked in the industry and maintained walkways for years, the expenses are exorbitant. You have cracks, you have seal coat, you have repairs from roots, you have all kinds of repairs that you will not have, or will be certainly minimized with concrete. So the decision to stay with concrete in the long run is better. Again, I kind of question again where you're coming from with paying for these types of easements. They seem extremely exorbitant to me. And if I was a resident of the township, I'd be screaming, because again, it's totally inappropriate use of township funds. There's other ways that this could go. If you've got to delay it further, but to spend that kind of money for an easement to go across, or within an easement right away that's already exists, it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Because again, you're also dealing with a total inequity, because every other person that has property that has been used is now entitled to a equitable amount for what this is, and they can come back. I mean, you're just opening up a Pandora's box. So I'd certainly reconsider that before you move forward. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, David Gordon, 5558 Helena Road. I was just kind of curious. I was outside in the old meeting room, and I saw the colored photographs and you have about the walkway, the non-motorized path from 2010. I've heard all kinds of numbers, and I'm really curious how much this is really costing the township before we're all done. I've heard figures of $600,000 in grants, and then there's hundreds of thousands of dollars of our own money. So I'd really like to see some kind of report that says, you know, this is how we got to where we are today. Because it's kind of shocking that we're talking about easements when you're 95%, you're 6 years into the process. It seems like, you know, where was the management on top of this for the last 4 years? The other question I had is, I've heard that you're not legally allowed to pay more than 125% of the, or 120% of the value. We have our attorney here. I'm curious if that's true. Is the township actually paying an illegal amount of money for the easements? Those are my two questions. Thank you.
9 years.
Okay. Do we have anyone else? No? Hello?
Udo Hof, 6431 Whitmore Lake Road. Okay, my records are going down to just 2015, but at this time we had board in session, and they haven't done everything they could do and carry it on, even with our old board members to this board now. And I feel sorry for the new board to deal with old stuff from the past. But as the previous speaker said, this is poor management when it comes to such a delay and such an increase of cost. And I think if this is right now just hovering by $60,000, then I would sit on the $65,000 and to go any further to any more maybe questions from the citizen of the township where the money is going. So, and my word to the old part on the board is thank you very much for not doing the job with the previous board to put the hold on this. And it's very unfair to the new board that you have not much comments to get out of there or to find a solution to solve the problem as it was for somebody carrying on such a mess. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? This is the second. Right, no, this is not the first call. We've got another meeting to get into here, and it's 7:45. So anyway, board member comments. I do remember you speaking about the 25%, can't pay more than 25%. I did ask our attorney about that, and they weren't aware of any statute like that.
I'm not aware of anything. I don't know if you spoke to Mr. Burns, but I'm certainly not aware of anything.
Right. So we weren't aware of anything like that, and then as far as eminent domain, that would be pretty expensive also to take that to court. And
Comment to that.
go ahead, Ms. Otto.
When the previous board was considered the eminent domain, but for a board to move forward, we would have to pay their legal fees, our legal fees, and it would range probably past the $200,000 mark by the time we were done. So we're beyond really, if we went eminent domain, we would be like 200 to 300,000. Isn't that what we talked about? The estimate?
That's certainly a risk.
Yeah.
Once you factor in appraisals, et cetera.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I'd like to clarify that the pathway non-motorized pathway started in 2010, wasn't it? 2008?
2008 or 9.
2008, 9. So we're talking 3 boards ago. And that's when the easements really should have been acquired.
And they should have been on the north side of Barker Road.
Anyway, okay. So that's why we couldn't go with that option, or kind of dead in the water for that option, so.
One other question about who gets paid and who doesn't.
Oh, yes. And the easements, we have unusual parcel boundaries, and those particular homes, their parcel boundaries go right out to the edge of the road. But other parcels along that stretch don't have that. They're
Like Main Street didn't have
The
it.
road right-of-way is much wider. And so that's why we were able to keep they are able to keep the pathway in the road right-of-way along many of the properties, most of the properties, but not those 4. Those ones go right out to the edge of the road. And then on Main Street, apparently the road right-of-way is much wider, and that's why the sidewalk is in the road right-of-way, and they don't have to purchase any easements. It's very frustrating, I know. I've been agonizing over this too, but to have the safety for the children and the access to the downtown, I think we'll be able to recoup that in the years to come with the benefits to the neighborhoods there. So that's why I did vote yes on that. So anyway, do we have any more board member comments before we adjourn to the next meeting?
I do have one
Ms.
comment.
Zelnut. Go ahead.
They mentioned about why it couldn't be delayed. It was already delayed, and we got an extra year extension. It was to be done in 2016, and we went and got another year. I mean, the delay could have been a permanent one. But we did, it was already 1 year. It's already 1 year past,
That's true.
just to answer the question.
We're on board member comments right now.
We're still on board member comments. Do you
I
have
have a board member comment. I went to pick up my packet for this meeting, which I usually study the packet pretty close. I got a note on my packet. Mr. Dockett, Rick will have
the financial report ready over the weekend. Marlene was in training on Thursday, so she will not have her report until the weekend. Lisa Limbo has been on vacation, so there's no minutes. Now, how do you expect me to do my job if you people don't do your job? I mean, this is really sickening, I can tell you that.
Any more board member comments? Okay.
Yeah, I can comment.
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Bellinger.
Are we going to be discussing this non-motorized path again tonight here, or is now the time?
We're
Okay.
done. No, it's
All
not on the agenda for the regular meeting.
Okay, well, I think that we probably could find an alternate way to move forward with this. Like I say, this path is like the width of a driveway. I think that perhaps we could consider abandoning this project and maybe finding another way to finish actually a sidewalk without removing the existing sidewalk. Actually, this proposal for part 3 here, they want to remove quite a few hundreds feet of a smaller sidewalk and then put this driveway-wide sidewalk in place. I think that we probably could use our own resources and probably in the near future perhaps address this. I would hope at a more cost-effective manner, and as opposed to us being strong-armed into $16,000, $17,000, $15,000 to these residents. Perhaps maybe in the future they will maybe put their own sidewalk in around our existing sidewalk that we may put in on our own time. Just different thoughts. I mean, I think there's probably an answer here somewhere, that because this has turned into quite a mess. I would like to see it resolved. Obviously, people want to walk and have access and so forth, but this seems like just a bad situation that is not getting any better.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any more comments? Okay, I move to adjourn. Okay, motion by Chalkley, support by Chick to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, does anyone need a break here before we go into the next? I hope not. Okay.